Hi everyone, welcome to Papa Bear. Again, here we are talking about all things fatherhood, trying to get to the bottom of what it means, what it takes to be the best version of a father that we can possibly be. Remember, none of us are experts. We're all trying to learn this thing as we go along, but we can learn from one another. There are things that I have learned in my experience, there are things that other people have learned in their experience, and it's good for us to talk about these things so that we can be more effective. The next generation will really benefit from strong, committed, engaged, present dads in their lives. And that's what we want to do. That's what you want to do, which is, I believe, why you're watching this video. So let's keep talking. Let's engage on this issue. We've had a couple of sessions so far. We talked earlier on about self-care, and we explored some of the ways that we as men can take care of ourselves so that we can be more effective in taking care of our children. And then we also then went into issues around self-awareness and trying to understand who we are as people, as human beings, as men, as dads, so that we can be effective in passing on the right kind of experiences, the right kind of background to our children so that they can be effective, and just passing on the whole skill of self-awareness and understanding who we are. So we're going to talk today about self-drive. And this is something that not all men have a problem with this. I mean, some of us are driven, like we know what we want and we go for it, and we're passionate and we push and we go for it. But not all of us are that self-driven, and especially where fatherhood is concerned. You can be this captain of industry, a titan, you're driven, you're all the way out there in business, in the workplace, wherever it is that you do, whatever it is that you do outside of the home, and you come home and you're just this docile and you don't really know what to do. And there's a whole conversation around why that happens in homes. And we'll talk about that in another session. But for today, I want to talk about self-drive and how is it that we can achieve a sense of drive where our fatherhood is concerned that allows us to engage in activities in a proactive way that is helpful for the growth and development of our kids. And in my mind, self-drive is actually a couple of things, or rather it's influenced by a couple of things. Yeah. Number one is your natural instincts. What is it that comes naturally to you? What is it that you find yourself gravitating towards? And when you put yourself in a place where you are surrounded by stuff that you naturally gravitate towards or that you're inclined towards, then you find yourself driven. Yeah. Think about it this way. If you're ever to, say, lose weight or develop a new habit, it's very easy to fall off that wagon if it's not something that you're naturally inclined towards. Yeah. If you have to push yourself beyond your normal limits or your normal boundaries, it becomes that much harder to push forward. And sometimes we have to do that. We have to push past our natural instincts. But I find that it's a lot easier to position ourselves in a place where we're doing stuff that we're naturally inclined towards, and that helps us to push forward and to have that drive towards our fatherhood. So, for example, not all of us are outdoorsy. I personally am not a very outdoorsy person. So if you try and get me to do activities with my kids that are very outdoorsy, then I'm not going to stay on that bandwagon for very long. Unless I have other people pushing me to do it, I'm probably going to drop off at some point because that's not my natural inclination. I'm more inclined towards indoor type stuff, right? Board games, puzzles, and things like those. So when I'm trying to engage with my kids and trying to give them quality time or just spend time with them, I need to do stuff that I'm naturally inclined towards. That has the effect of, first of all, giving you self-drive, which propels itself, number one. And then number two, it also helps your kids get to understand who you are. So you find yourself doing stuff that you enjoy, and your kids start to build interests in those areas as well. And it sort of propagates itself. So find areas that you're naturally inclined towards and propagate or push yourself in that direction. That helps you to maintain that drive and that momentum. I think the other thing is habits, yeah. And this is not necessarily a contradiction of what I just said, but habits are things that you develop over time. Now, oftentimes you have to develop a habit over against the things that you're naturally inclined towards, right? So you might not be inclined towards, say, eating certain kinds of foods or doing certain kind of activity, but you push yourself to get into that habit for the sake of your kids. Okay, now it kind of goes against your natural inclinations, but what it does is it then develops a new path for you, a new neural path for you, a new way of looking at life that then becomes part of your natural inclinations. Because if you think about your natural inclinations, those are things which you were exposed to, which you learned over time. So you can develop the right kind of habits to help you push in the right direction. And the question is, what kind of habits do you build? And the habits can be built subconsciously or even unconsciously without any effort. You're just basically doing the same stuff over and over and it becomes a habit. Or it could be something that you deliberately build into your lifestyle, into your workflow, into your everyday schedule that eventually becomes a habit. And when that habit is built and the muscle is strong enough, it becomes it becomes a natural inclination for you. So ask yourself, what kind of habits am I building on a deliberate, everyday, purposeful, proactive basis? And how can I ensure that those habits are then built to the level that they become natural acts or natural inclinations for me? So that's the thing, guys. Self-drive. You have to be self-driven as a man, as a father, to be able to do the kind of things that you need to do for your kids to succeed. And that is partly natural instinct for you and partly developing of the right habits. Awesome. So if you have any thoughts about this video, please feel free to share. Please feel free to give comments at the bottom. If you have anyone who you think would need to hear this, please share it with them as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of content on the channel about fatherhood, about what men can do and should do, interviews with a lot of interesting guests. So please subscribe. There's a whole lot of stuff that's scheduled for this year. We're going to go so many places and really build up a lot of content for the sake of fathers. So please subscribe to the channel. And as usual, if you have any thoughts, if you have any comments, please reach out to me. Please comment on the video and let's get this conversation going. So thanks again and have a wonderful day ahead.